We've all seen stacked lineups, but imagine a team where the cleanup hitter's production is barely noticed because the seventh batter is rocking an OPS of 1,000. That's not a video game fantasy. That's the existential dread the American League East is facing in Toronto. This Blue Jays lineup, even before its final pieces are locked in, is being called a monster, a terrifying force designed purely to shatter pitching morale. If you thought baseball was a 9-inning battle, think again.
The 2026 Blue Jays are turning it into a 27-out slow-motion execution, and we're here at 605 News 1 to dissect the precise anatomy of this unprecedented offensive wrecking crew. The central, gripping question that hangs over the entire Major League Baseball landscape is simple. How do you acquire 27 outs against 9 designated home run threats? And even more profoundly, where is the tactical weakness that prevents this projected Jays roster from becoming the most terrifying lineup in modern history? We start with the premise. The 2026 Blue Jays roster, even in its current potentially incomplete form, featuring the formidable addition of someone like Kazuma Okamoto, to a core already housing Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette.
The buzz is that Okamoto might slot into the 7th spot, perhaps moving Kevin Biggio or another capable bat into a bench role, purely because the top of the lineup is so utterly saturated with power. We're talking about an offensive arrangement that looks less like a professional baseball team and more like a 12-year-old's fantasy roster built in an MLB simulation game set to cheat mode. The sheer audacious nerve of lining up 7 legitimate home run threats, one after the other.
It defies the established principles of roster construction. To truly grasp the scale of this horror show, you have to talk to the people who study the numbers, the deep dive analysts who deal in pitcher psychological breakdown data. We spoke with veteran scout Miles Fenton, who specializes in opposing team morale modeling. Fenton didn't mince words. Forget the Dodgers. The Dodgers offer an occasional exhale moment in the bottom third, maybe a chance to reset the count.
With the Jays, you might walk Guerrero to get to cleanup, only to find the 7th spot is occupied by a man who, if his prior performance holds, is projecting for an OPS well over 1,000, hitting 40 home runs effortlessly. Where do you pitch? The math literally doesn't work. Fenton points out the specific statistical anomaly. Typically, the 7th hitter in the majors carries an OPS in the low 700s. Okamoto, however, brings middle-of-the-order production to the deep bottom of the lineup.
It's an insane imbalance of resources. This leads us directly into the conflict, the mental battlefield where pitchers reside. The sheer volume of high-quality swings that need to be navigated is exhausting. Imagine a starting pitcher, say a mid-rotation guy, trying to preserve his ERA, facing this lineup for the 3rd time in the 5th inning. His heart rate is already elevated, not from exertion, but from constant dread. As one anonymous American League East starter, whom we'll call the Southpaw, confessed to us, I saw the projected depth chart, and my first thought wasn't about strikeouts, it was about survival. Every single one of those 27 outs feels like 100. We have guys in our clubhouse talking about mandated therapy sessions just to deal with the inevitable 8-run innings at the Rogers Center.
If you successfully avoid the fire of Bichette and Guerrero, then you have to face Kirk, and then you have to face, potentially, a red-hot first baseman, and then you still haven't reached Okamoto. He highlighted that in many other elite lineups, you can breathe against the 8 or 9 hitter, knowing you can set up the top of the order again. But here, the 8 and 9 hitters are essentially 4 hitters on any other team, ready to spray doubles or take a walk to hand the baton back to the monsters. But here is where the counter-argument must be addressed, the necessary critical lens. Many traditionalists will argue this arrangement, loaded with sluggers, is too top-heavy, too reliant on the long ball.
They claim that the team lacks balance, that a truly elite rotation could pitch around the power and force contact, turning those home run swings into ground balls or easy flyouts. They would say that the Yankees, historically, tried to buy power and found that small ball and speed often wins in October. This line of thinking, however, fundamentally misunderstands the potential evolution of this Jays lineup. The moment Toronto secures a legitimate, high OBP speedster, a player like a top-tier contact hitter, or even a highly athletic, disciplined outfielder rumored to be in play, the dynamic shifts from being merely a slugging team to a complete monster. If you add a player who can steal bases and consistently get on base ahead of Guerrero and Bichette, the team instantly transforms from being a one-dimensional powerhouse into an impenetrable, multi-layered offensive machine.
Their ability to go from a slow, grinding walk-off to a sudden barrage of home runs, all within the span of 3 batters, is what elevates them beyond the Yankees power team comparisons. This isn't just about power. It's about the merciless distribution of talent. Now, let's circle back to the central mystery we promised to address, the supposed tactical weakness in this monstrous Blue Jays lineup. Is there an exploitable hole?
After weeks of analysis, the consensus among opposing front offices isn't that there's a specific weak spot in the lineup, but rather a single, terrifying vulnerability in the pitching approach itself. The plot twist is that the weakness isn't who is batting, but how the opposition is forced to pitch. Since nearly every batter requires a cautious approach, the pitcher is perpetually working from behind in the count. This lack of command and the constant need to nibble at the corners inevitably inflates the walk rate for the entire staff. The most profound strategic hole is the pressure it places on the opposing team's bullpen and, more critically, the back end of their starting rotation. By the time a number 5 starter faces this lineup, knowing he cannot afford a single mistake pitch for 6 or 7 innings, the psychological toll is insurmountable. The weakness isn't the Jays' batting order. The weakness is the human element of the opposing pitcher who must execute 120 perfect pitches to survive. This luxurious depth, this ability to put a high OPS player at 7th, allows the entire team to be patient, knowing that the damage is coming one way or another. It's the ultimate show of offensive confidence, an embarrassment of riches that truly frightens the league.
They aren't trying to score runs. They are trying to destroy entire pitching staffs. And the frightening reality is they have the personnel to do it. What do you think? Is the 2026 Blue Jays lineup truly untouchable? Or is there a way for AL East managers to tactically neutralize this overwhelming depth? Let us know your predictions in the comments below.
Don't forget to like this video, share it with your baseball friends, and subscribe to 605 News 1 for more deep dives into the game's most explosive stories. We'll catch you in the next analysis.